Okay, so it says I'm live now. Ethan, let me know if it's live for you now too. One of my systems was saying I was already live, and I've been going through a lot. So let's just see if I'm live now, and if I am, I apologize, everyone. Making sure. Ethan, are you there? Okay, perfect. So tell me, I'm going to say go. I want you to say, type in now. I'll give you a couple seconds to have it. And I want to say go and let me know what kind of delay there is. So I'll give you 2 or 3 seconds to say, type in now, before, and then I'll say go, and you can just push enter. 1, 2, 3, go. So just type in now and wait for me to say go. So that way I can see the delay actually, the actual delay. And now, go. Yeah, okay. So there's still a bit of a delay. So I don't know why. My main software that I used has been saying I've been live for a while now, but then Google needed me to push go live as well, but previously I didn't need to push go live. So I'm not sure about that, and I apologize. All right, so we'll go over this one here since this is one of your game requests anyway. Like I say, I don't want to play the audio because I don't want to get dinged for any potential copyright strikes. But F-Zero GX, I'll go ahead and start playing this here real quick. The video quality looks really nice with the Vulkan background. The thing is I get about 30 frames per second. So it's not the best in the universe, but it's still pretty good. I currently have it on uncapped performance, so if it can do 120, 150 hertz or frames, it'll do 150 frames. I ran into the wall looking at your message, Ethan. So I hope that the post live recap video that you can watch will have that information. But if not, I'll go over what I've gone over up to this point. So it looks good from this perspective. It absolutely does. And this feels good to play on. Now, one thing is I still wish there was some ergonomic humps here, kind of like on the Retroid Pocket 5. It's just flat, but at least it's got a curve on it. So this kind of chamfered edge here makes it still comfortable to hold. It's just you're resting your hands completely flat versus having a bit of an angle, which would actually make it more comfortable and for longer play sessions, but this is still fine. All right, so I want to quit because since you weren't here, I want to show you what I was looking at here. Let it reload the game a bit. Like I say, these graphics look great. Grand Prix mode, novice, aka noob mode. Now when I'm selecting my vehicle, imagine I'll still get the, yeah, see, you get graphical glitchiness. But now I'm at like 60 frames per second, but I'm getting glitchiness. So I can end emulation, go to settings, graphics, change it from Vulkan to OpenGL, and as I mentioned, you can actually launch it directly from ESDE. So even though it's an external emulator, so I'm doing that. Compiling our shaders. I want to show the difference between OpenGL and Vulkan. minute. See, 4560. Okay. Now see, I get rid of that graphical glitchiness. So it's quick and easy to be able to change your backends to see which one you prefer. Let's see what type of, actually, let me just see if I can. Okay, this audio is a bit better than the other Vulcan is. I take that back, it's not the best. Yeah. Yeah. No, the other one has better audio. It's more crackly, but it's better. This one has better video, but less good audio. So really depends on what you want. It's not going to be a perfect emulation with this SoC, as the T820 is powerful. It's just not as powerful as the other devices, like the 8300 in the RG557 and the RG477M. But you can see the video looks really good. Oops, meant to turn down the volume. Wish that they were split sides. All right, P for PNIC. There we go. All right, so let's exit emulation again. Let's change it back to Vulkan. Go back to ESDE, launch it again. And I was mentioning while I thought I was live, Ethan, that I thought that it's funny that these are the 3 games you and I talked about: Metal Gear Solid, F-Zero GX, and Auto Motorista, and for the GameCube. And the funny part is, for some reason, the screen scrapers won't find it, and I don't know why they wouldn't find Metal Gear Solid, because Metal Gear Solid, you know, is one of the bigger games. So I'm not really sure why that is. So with Vulkan, which is usually a really good backend, when I get to my player selection screen, now I'm getting graphical glitchy. But now the audio sounds better. But the overall video quality, I'm sure you'd agree, is pretty good. And this is integer scaled 1.5 times. So it is upscaling the video from native GameCube. So it'd probably be even better if I just did 1x, just native resolution. But I wanted it to look a little bit better. Yeah, the audio definitely sounds better. I don't know if you can hear the audio. You'll have to let me know, Ethan. Can you hear the audio? It's not up very loud, but I don't know if the microphone's going to pick it up or not. Oops, missed that. Speed up. Damn it. 36, 38 frames per second, so I'm a little bit higher than OpenGL. But like I say, you could see with OpenGL, you could see the character model and stuff like that, whereas you can't when you're selecting it on this one. So it's very interesting mixture. And I'll show you with Metal Gear Solid the difference as well, because there's another interesting dynamic. Okay, at least don't have to worry about copyright strikes. And if anyone else has joined, I definitely apologize about the delay. I thought I was live, but apparently I need to push go live like 2 or 3 times to actually go live. So I don't know why that is. I could have sworn last week I didn't need to, but this week apparently I did. I'm going to do my best to keep the controller as planted as possible so everyone can watch, whether they watch live or later. I want to make it as enjoyable of an experience as possible. Okay. Yeah. So that is F0GX. Looks good. Audio's a little wonky. Player selection screen a little wonky. If you want the OpenGL, if you want Vulkan, the player selection screen looks. I mean, this is, I believe, Vulkan, whichever one this is. Which one is this? This is Vulkan. So Vulkan, you get the player model whenever you're selecting. Not looking great, very blocky, but you get better frame rate. So it's a toss-up versus a little bit less frame rate, around 30 usually on OpenGL, but your player model looks great, but the audio is a little bit less quality. So that is that one. We'll go ahead and close out of it. And then I'll go over what I had been going over as well. So if you've screen scraped your games, for example, R Racing Evolution, this is Ridge Racer, fork of Ridge Racer that they came out for on the GameCube that had the story mode. If you scrape, you can get the video, you can get the box art, the description, which is the metadata, as well as what was the game rated, how many people can play it, who published it, all of that kind of information. But to do that, you press Start, go to Scraper, and you have 2 scraper options. You have Screen Scraper, and you have the game database, or the game's DB. So then you can choose, do you want all games, just your favorited games, games with no metadata, again that's the description and rating and year of release and all that jazz. Do you want to scrape just games that do not have game images? You can do that. Just ones that don't have game videos, you can do that. Folders for all games. And then scrape which systems, you can choose which of your systems you want to do. So if you only want to do one, you can do just one. Or you can do 3. All right, doesn't matter. And then you just have to scroll down to the bottom, click back if you're happy with your selection. You can, of course, select all, select none. Select all is going to do them all. So we'll go ahead and click that, and then we'll say only give me ones that don't have videos. Right? So now the 2 options you have, the games database or the games DB, you don't sign up for an account, you just use it. Right? Screen Scraper usually provides better quality materials, but you have to log in and you have less screen scrapes available, for lack of a better term, per day. Every day it restarts. So you get more times to scrape with the game's DB, and then Screen Scraper usually has more games and better quality. So to do that, of course, you go to account settings and put in your account password and login that you signed up for on their website. And they do have a Patreon that you can sign up for. I believe it's $5 a month or $6 a month is the minimum for like faster scraping as well. Then content settings, you can choose what do you want it to provide you with. See, you can even tell it to download game manuals, fan box art images, everything. and then max image. You can choose the resolution, which it knows by default that this is a 1280 by 960 resolution. So that's what it's going to provide us with. So you can choose all of these things. You want it to be sharp, smooth. How do you want things to look on your end? You can even do an offline generator if you want to just have it do an offline generator. And then for your other settings, you can choose region. Why is this important? Because, for example, EU, Japan, and North America, they say USA, but really North America, 9 times out of 10, they have at least a slightly different box design from each other because they've tried to localize it for Europe versus the North American audience, for example, and the Japanese audience. So you can tell it what box images do you want to pull. Of course, I'm from North America originally, even though I live in Thailand now, so I choose USA. And then, of course, preferred language, you can choose, there you go, there's some Korean, Turkish. Let's see, I'm guessing that's Polish, would be my guess. Portuguese, aka Portuguese. Oh no, that must have been some other language, like Russian or something, I'm not sure. That's, I'm guessing Polish because it's Polski. I apologize to my Polish viewers. Obviously, Netherlands is Dutch. So it's interesting because sometimes they have the country and then like English, and then the other times they have in Portuguese, and then other times they have the country, Netherlands. Very interesting, but I'm sure if you speak those languages, you'll know whenever you see it what they're talking about, so you'll be able to find your preferred language. Okay, how many times do you want it to retry if it can't find anything? And how many times do you want it to, so if there's an error, that's the top one, and then that one if it just doesn't find anything the first time, or sometimes just needs more time to find it. You can have it overwrite files and data. So there's all different kinds of things you can do to enable fallback to different regions. So what this would be good for is, for example, I have it set to North America. Maybe it can't find a North American box, but it can find the Japanese box, so then it'll go and grab that Japanese box art to be able to do that. All right, then you tell it to start, and it starts. It'll probably take it a second because, of course, probably not the strongest Wi-Fi in the office at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that just to show you that that's what that is. So that's how you scrape. And then UI settings. Remember, I mean, through my videos, I always talk about customization being one of my favorite things, and that's why I love ESDE, because it gives you all of the options. So you can absolutely download new themes if you want, or you can use your existing themes. So I'll just kind of show you this existing theme. So this is the one I decided to use for this one. I think it makes the images look really sharp. You can see what the original controller looked like. You can see what console it is and a description of the console. The Sony PlayStation, or PS for short, is a 5th generation console. And of course, there is solid state. But again, for people that weren't aware, the original PlayStation launched without analog sticks. Of course, before the PS2 came out, they updated the PS1 to include analog sticks, but the original one did not have analog sticks. PSP, so you can see you can have all those options. Now let's go into PSP, for example. So you can see now it gives us what looks like an actual PSP with the game playing on it, with all the metadata and what the box art looks like. Scroll over here, and for PS2, I have some information, not everything. Let's go Crash. So Crash, now you can see we have Crash here, and it's giving us the synopsis of the game, the video, the box art, how many stars did it receive, how many people can play it, what is the genre, you know, everything. If you're not familiar with it, but you've got it part of your catalog, for example, if you bought this with a micro SD card, that's where that'll come in handy. right? Because maybe you're establishing your ROM list and that's how you're doing it. Now, some of the consoles, let me see if I can scroll over here. Let's cut that off and scroll back up here. UI default. Let's try no view. Yeah, let's say I don't know what's happening. My main software says I've been streaming for 50 minutes, and obviously this is not showing 50 minutes. So don't know. Yeah, so you can see, looks like a TV. This looks like a game, arcade machine. Pico 8 was actually a virtual console, so it was a console that was never released as far as hardware goes. Now, of course, some guys have created a Raspberry Pi and tried making a Pico 8 device, but the people that created Pico 8 never created an actual console. They just created the specifications for people to actually be able to create games for it. You can see that they're fun, like NES looking games. Like they're going for that kind of 8-bit look, like an original Nintendo. So, anyways, let's go back here. UI settings, iconic linear. Let's go back. Let's go to iconic. How iconic is iconic? Let's find out right now. Not right after this. So now you can see we have it changed up here. This look and feel is very different. But you can see the controller, what it looked like, but instead of just a silhouette of the controller, now you can actually see it. Or the device, of course, if it's a handheld. The Wii with the Wii Chuck. Okay. There we go. See, now this one, they chose to show the PS1 controller with the analog sticks that it eventually got. So you know you're not crazy if you thought, I could have sworn I played PS1 with analog sticks. You did. It's just different. So then we go into it. Right now it's a completely different look. And that's what I love about it. Of course, now it's only going to have things that it finds the actual data for. But you can see it started off with Assassin's Creed. See the box art, what the UMD looked like, and then it switches over to the video. But you still get your synopsis over here. Still go over here and push over to the side to load the other consoles. See, I got some, but not everything. Melty Blood Actress again. Version A. It's quite the exciting name there, Sega. So, and then Four-Wheel Thunder. All right, so, and then we can change it from that to text list flip. Let's try text list flip. Now, literally flip. But, you know, that's fine, but what about dark mode? I like dark mode better. How about you? Let's find out. Okay, now, gives it a completely different vibe. If you're a dark mode person like I am, there you go. Daytona USA. I used to love playing that game. Like an arcadey NASCAR game. Back in the day, in the late 90s, Penick was a fan of NASCAR, so he actually enjoyed this game. Whether you're watching it live or after the fact, let me know. Were you a NASCAR fan? Are you a NASCAR fan? Were you Formula One, IndyCar, or you just never got into racing? Love to hear from everyone. All right, so that's just changing everything up. Linear. Let's take a look at linear. It looks like we've got a couple more viewers. I don't know if they're still there, but see a spike. So if you are watching live, welcome. All right, so now you can see, again, very different vibes. Still see the controller, and then kind of split down the middle instead of off to the side, one or the other. Sorry about that. Turn off notifications, I suppose. So don't be shy. You can say hi if you're here still. All right, so go back here. And again, I wanted to do live streams because during my videos, it's kind of hard to have that structure of going over what I give each category and then have the time to go over what can you do in ESDE, for example. And there's so much you can do in ESDE. Yes, for us tomorrow, Ethan, absolutely. I'll be purchasing one tomorrow morning. If the other viewers are in North America, they'll be able to order it there today because it would be the beginning of their day. But and the orders are in the morning for us, but they're in the evening for North America. So now you can see we have this one. Again, change the vibe completely. That's what I love about ESDE, is you can absolutely change the vibe of your system to match your needs. Like that one, that's the first time that we have a Wii U. I mean a Wii. Hey, stop it. So you can see I only have 2 Wii games on. Pico 8, of course, they just created a Pico 8 machine for demonstration purposes. PlayStation, they didn't even bother with the controller. That's so funny. But then you can see, like, so you have these options now. Some of them aren't accurate. Like, I have already played Gran Turismo. I don't know why it's saying I haven't played Gran Turismo. But now, because of the structure of this with it looking like a bunch of cases, now you have to click these to go back and forth. Whereas in the other one, because it was different, you could just click left and right. So there's a couple different big front ends. Obviously, as I've always mentioned, ESDE is my favorite, and it's so customizable, and that's what I love about it, right? Is you can really make it yours, and you don't have to be bashful about it. Just make it yours because it's your device. Make it look how you want. I'm gonna let it switch back to the one it was just a moment ago. All right, and then just to go over theme loader, you can see with the check mark which ones I've downloaded, and you can see which ones other are also available. For example, if you want a super basic UI, it'll give you the analog OS menu. As you can see, just black and white. Or one of the most common on Linux-based devices that use ESDE as their front end is the Artbook Next. And a lot of other YouTubers like that one as well. I've used it many times and I love it too. But I wanted to try something different for this one. But like I said, so the nice thing here is, for example, canvas. You can see variants 16, color schemes 60, aspect ratios 8, font sizes 4. So you can really even pick that and then dig into it and play with all of the different themes to see what looks best to you. I had been downloading this when I thought I was live, so that's why it looks like that. But yes, that rather than a check mark. So I gave up because I didn't want to just waste time. Now I guess it wouldn't have mattered because I wasn't actually live. So let's go back. All right, so sound settings. What do you want your audio with? All right, navigation sounds. Do you want to play those? Video player volume. All kinds of things. You want to have it giving you chink, chink, chink every time you move around. Turn it on or off. Make it all your own. Now, one of the things that I will mention, the things that I love about ESDE is it'll load once you tell it where all of your ROMs are, what folder, regardless of console, all of your subfolders for your ROMs are. You can just select that and it'll pull all of your games. Screen scraper, you can tell it what consoles do you want to scrape your games from, and it'll do all that for you. Quick and easy. You can. Oh, sorry about that. All right, all right, okay. Uh, it's like, all right. So, what I was saying is you can do it all. Versus Beacon, you do get another option for screen scraping, and that comes from Steam. And I just like having those options, and it does it quickly and easily. Whereas Beacon, you have to tell it load each console individually. So you have to say, okay, now I want to load, I want to do PS1 games. So here's where my PS1 folder is, and here's I want you to scrape this game console. The benefit to it is maybe you want different style box art for different consoles. You can do that quickly and easily. This one you can too in a sense, I suppose, but it's a lot more complicated in that regard. Because then you have to go into your content settings and choose what you want. You only want the back cover images, or do you want 3D box images? Whereas there, it's going to be much more applicable in that regard. So, but like I say, I love having game manuals and fan art images, but you can choose what you want. So you have that option. And then, of course, palette description. And as I mentioned earlier, you have your two options. Versus Beacon, you have three options. You have the games database and screen scraper with them. And then, like say, you have the one that Steam uses for their box arts. Yeah, so let me know if you get any more weird sounds. I think it should be over, but if sounds come back or start messing up again, I'll try fixing it. All right, so that's scraping, that's UI, sound settings, there we go, input device. What type of controller are you using? Do you want the touch overlay? You can turn it off. There we go. So now, I touch it, well, of course, I touched it, but I guess I haven't saved it yet. But in the input device settings, this is where I also go swap the A, B, X, Y buttons. So you want enter to be your A button or your B button. Of course, it's kind of funny because you also set it here. So you might want to just say, you know what, I'll do this. But the thing to remember though is games will be looking at it for this format too. Not so ESDE, yes, but so will other systems. So every time you restart it, it defaults to the Nintendo Switch layout. And that's so annoying. But really, you just have to drag it down from the top, open this window, click OK, and then it changes it to Xbox mode, so it expects the B button to be your enter button. Which again, me being a PlayStation fan from North America, I'm used to X being the enter button and the X was the bottom button. So for me, that's why I go to swap A, B, X, Y. Okay, game collection settings, automatic game collections. For example, maybe you want to have almost 10,000 games on here. Like for example, I believe there's 8,000 or 9,000 games on here. If you want that, but you know you're only going to play like 10 games across various consoles, enable last played, so that way you'll have another option to choose from, and that option will be all of the games that you've played on it, so you can quickly go to those games you want to see. And of course, favorites, games that you've marked as your favorite. All games, of course, that means regardless of console, it's going to show you all games. So customization is yours. Create a new custom collection. Maybe you're going to share this with someone else. Like in a few years, my son Dominic is only 20 months old. So other than throwing my handhelds, we can't do much of anything with them right now. Which is why, if you haven't guessed yet, which is why I love having the cases, because he wants to throw anything he can and he thinks it's fun. The case makes it where it's at least protected. So you maybe in a few years, whenever Dominic starts to learn to play handheld, I can create Dominic's faves and Phoenix faves. So that way, again, the games I want to play frequently are on that list. And the games I know he likes to play, we can create a list and just make it be those games for him. So there you go. You can group custom collections by themes if you want. Sort favorites on top of the custom collections. Display star markings for custom collections. They give you everything you could possibly want. Now, this is one thing that's important. In other settings, you have alternative emulators. So for example, the GameCube came with the Dolphin default. Dolphin default is the built-into RetroArch Dolphin. That's great and all. That's great. The problem is it's not so good with this limited hardware. You need more powerful hardware for that to be remotely good. So this device has Dolphin standalone and Dolphin MMJR2. So standalone. So if you're not familiar with what they mean by standalone, again, the top one, default, that means it's built into RetroArch, which is our main backend for almost all retro consoles. So RetroArch right there, RetroArch. But you can have standalone emulators, which means they're their own application, just like in this case. And you can see I actually do have two Dolphins. I have regular Dolphin, and then I have the fork of Dolphin, the MMJR2. This was better than the default, the built-in, but the MMJR2 was even better. So I set the MMJR2 as my GameCube and my Wii. So we just change that. There we go. Boop, boop, good. All right, video game directory. You can choose where it's pointing your games at again. You can say how many monitors are you sharing. Rotate the screen. Upscale to 60 frames per second. You can absolutely do that. Enable alternative emulators per game. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that, but you can if you want to, which is, again, great just to have the flexibility. So you can see there's just a lot of things. Back button or swipe exits the app. Good. Kid mode. I've never used it. Never even thought of really using it, but I guess I could. Game importer, orphan games. Create, update system directories. Cancel. Rescan ROM directory. I don't know why this is so necessary, because anytime you open this for the first time, it does it. I guess because you can set this as your launcher. So whenever Android loads up, this immediately loads. So if you wanted to do that, you could do that, I suppose. So that's that. Let's say nice and I think this one looks pretty sharp. I don't know about you guys, but I think it looks pretty good. So let's go back to GameCube. And let's go to Metal Gear Solid so I can show you the difference between the two sets there. I have it set to do GameCube at 1.5 integer scale, upscale, so it should look better. And it pains me because I'm a PlayStation guy, but I have to admit, for Metal Gear Solid 1, Twin Snakes is the best version of Metal Gear Solid 1 that has been released. Even better than their Collection Volume 1, Metal Gear Solid Collection V1, which is goofy, but it is what it is. Most of the Volume 2 when it comes out too. All right, so let's see which one are we on here. Okay, so you can see here the radar looks great, but we're having some graphical issues here. And yes, they do persist as you play. If it's something you think you could deal with, fine, but deal with it. The other option is going into Dolphin, changing graphics, change the video backend to OpenGL. Now with OpenGL, we're going to get rid of the graphical issues that we saw of Solid Snake and the top left corner. So you might say, well, that's great. I want that. Why didn't you show that to me first? That's why I'm showing you this, because I think it's important to understand and to see that you can change it quickly on the fly between different games. Okay. So now we've done away, as I mentioned here, let me get rid of this. Sorry, my fingers have been smudging up the screen here. All right, so now, see, you get a little bit there as well. Why is it still doing that? That's not right. Wasn't doing that for me earlier. Maybe I forgot to save it. Yeah, forgot to save it. It looks like open. Let's just try it loading from here. There we go. Save settings. I forgot. That's my bad. Forgot you have to exit all the way out for the save settings to save. All right. So now remember we had the character was a little graphically glitchy and the top left was graphically glitchy. Oh, and Ethan too, don't forget the AirX is tomorrow, and then the next day is the Ayenio Pocket Air Mini is coming out. So, which will be a little bit smaller than this because this is a 4.6-inch screen, and that is a 4.2-inch screen. Versus the AirX has a 16:9 screen that is 5.5 inches. So, has the same size screen as this guy. All right, so let's go ahead and exit here. So remember character and top left. Now, top left and character look really sharp. But look at this. Like, look at the radar. So I'm sorry if you're sensitive to strobing. Please forgive me. But so you have to choose. Due to the hardware, you have to choose which one makes more sense to you. Oh. Into the water you go. But yeah, so like I say, it goes away whenever you're not showing that screen. I'm trying to get it to focus. There we go. Oh, sorry, my phone doesn't want to focus for some reason. Oh, they spotted me. Run! Run slowly under the water when they're shooting at me. But instead of running, I'm just taking a stroll into the water. No big deal. I don't know about you guys, but I've never walked underwater quite like that. I have to give it to Solid Snake. Walking underwater. Like a bomb. Ah, boom. So, let me know down in the comment section below, which one would you go with? Vulcan with the character and the top left corner a little glitchy, or would you go OpenGL and go with the radar? I guess maybe that's a good impetus for not using the radar, but the radar is so useful in MGS. Oh. Run! Oh. I know I shouldn't do this, but I don't think. Oh. Ah, got kicked. All right, so there's MGS. And then our third op request for today was Automodalista. Now, I wish I had the Japanese PS2 version. I do, but for some reason I couldn't get it to work. The reason for that is the cars are more planted on the road, whereas this is more like Need for Speed Tokyo Drift-esque. So it's a lot more difficult to control, as is the North American version of PS2. I have to admit though, I was listening to these soundtrack, and they have a good selection of music. Let's go with Handheld. And you can choose your car. What OEM were you or are you a fan of? Even though I don't currently own one and haven't owned one for 20 years, I've always liked Ford. So, there's always that joke, for the people that don't like Fords, saying down on road dead, and then the people that love Ford say first on race day. So there we go. Everybody's different. But I am a fan of red as my favorite color, so we'll choose the red Mustang. I would never get a Mustang that looks quite like that, but it looks fun for the video, so we'll go with that. 113, 61 frames, 71. It's definitely an interesting cell shaded, like almost artistic look to it. Whoa, that's what I mean. Just the rear end wants to come out instead of wanting to be planted. It wants to spin around. So it does not handle in any way like Gran Turismo. Not even Need for Speed. Need for Speed has more planted vehicles. Like say the Japanese version, I have it, but for some reason I couldn't get Aether SX to recognize it. Probably because I don't have, might not have a Japanese BIOS on my RG476H, but that's a better version on PlayStation 2. I don't know if you can hear the music. I can, but just softly. Whoa, 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 whoa. Vibration motor feels good though. It gives the authentic console feel. Somehow I'm not in last place. I'm impressed by that. Ooh. Ooh. 35, 36 frames per second. Let's just for giggles, let's stop. One thing I can't understand about this versus regular Dolphin, the regular branch of Dolphin, I can stay in the game and change this. But let's just write to Vulcan. Learn my lesson to make sure I exit out. Hmm, 200 frames per second. Something tell me that's not gonna stick. Let's try to make it as much the same as possible. Oh, yeah. Definitely get a higher frame rate. I was averaging around 30 during the race. The audio seems a little choppier. Okay. Now it's even back out about 35 frames per second. Dom is with his mom in her hometown, so he's not home. But he should be back this weekend, as he and Joe are planning to be back this weekend. And assuming they are back, maybe next week I'll grab the phone and show little Dom. Whose nickname, since I found out Joe was pregnant with him over over 2 years ago now that he's 20 months old, is Pumpkin, my little pumpkin. Because he started off as a little seed and then he was going to grow to be a big guy, like a pumpkin grows from a seed to something really big. That was the idea. So he's my little pumpkin. Does feel a little bit better, even though the frame rate is really close to the same. I don't know why. Vulcan just feels a little bit better. So whoa, 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 whoa. Well, dropped to last place. This game does love its vibration motor, that's for sure. Getting up to speed and I can feel the controller just vibrating. Unlike before when you're going slower, which I guess is kind of realistic in that regard. But I wanted to show you this because I wanted to, point out that if a game isn't running optimally, you can change your backend driver from Vulkan to OpenGL and back. Test it out. Can I catch up? I see cars at least. Whether I can catch up with them, I don't know since I'm on the phone or not. But so like say we're averaging about 34 to 40 FPS, frames per second on GameCube. 39, 41, 44. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out of that. And I want to show you here. You have GameCube and you do have Wii. So with that in mind, it's a less than ideal situation with Wii, but maybe it's under Nintendo Wii. Let's see here. Yeah, Wii. It's like you have two games. Let's play a little Wii. Okay. Whoa. Oh boy. Now it's also hovering around a little bit higher. 35 to 45 is what I'm seeing on average here. So, yes, you can play some Wii. The audio is a little garbled as well, so if you're not listening to it for audio, not bad. Like I say, that fight I could see it being around 40, 45 frames per second. Uh, Somehow I won 2 fights. Don't ask me how, but I did. So I can't guarantee how to play on higher end Wii games. I can still play some Wii games. Like say for Nintendo consoles, I have to be careful about playing Nintendo IP because they are very close guarded about their intellectual property. I haven't even tried Daytona USA, so I can't tell you how good this is. But I used to like this game. Now you can see I'm loading up RetroArch because you can tell the different backend there. Get rid of it. Makes it a little bit better there. Yeah, let's use that. Of course, it's in Japanese. The nice one. Single race. This today should be a racing day. Lightning McQueen. Yeah, let's try a little Hornet. Yeah, automatic. Yeah, yeah. I'm red. Yeah, I know. That's good. Nope, nope. Nope. Okay, good. Helps to push the accelerator, the gas pedal. Let's restart now that I know what the gas pedal is. R2 is the gas pedal. Ooh, the audio sounds pretty good on it. There's a couple of seconds of garbliness, but overall pretty good. Oh, okay, so there is Daytona USA. Any other games or consoles anybody wants tested out? We'll put, yeah. Actually, maybe a 15. No, it's all right. Okay. Gotta really just finish so I can show you. All right, handhelds. I'm gonna take a drink here and let you choose another console or a specific game, and I'll see if I have it. Ethan? I guess you're the only one that wants to comment. Even though it looks like there's another person here, and there's been quite a few other people here. Nobody's else really said anything. But if you're here, what game console or Street Fighter? Do you have a console in mind? And if you're also here, I'm happy to play your request next. So let me know what game next you'd like to see. Game and potentially what console if it's on multiple consoles. And since Street Fighter is on just about everything, let's see. Top Gear. Just watch that show. Super Bowl. Street Fighter. I do on my computer, but it doesn't look like I do on PS2. Or I mean on SNES. Let's check out Genesis Mega Drive. That Virtual Fighter looks like. Streets of Rage. It's always a fun game too. Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. All right. N64. Man, Ethan, you gotta get quick about it. All right, let's see if I have it on N64. Hmm. All right, let's see. Nope, no Street Fighter on N64. Let's say on my computer I do. I have GoldenEye though. Last week you wanted to see GoldenEye. I got GoldenEye. So since we are without the N64 version, we'll go GoldenEye to make up for last week. I'd say for me, this I would like it a little bit more inset, just to make it where it's easier to play. Oh, I want to make sure I'm not going to get too funny James Bond music, but I wish it was just a little bit more inset. You see there's the space there, so I'd love it if they just scooted it in like 2 millimeters, an inch, which would be 2.54 centimeters. But you know, move that in like an inch or even though half an inch would make a big difference. Now the question is, does it recognize my button presses? I thought I had set up virtual arch for my next time. Maybe not. So let's go retro arch. Controls. All right, controls. Let's see here, type controller, okay. It's a bit more tricky too whenever it's broken. Like, I think that's the back button, but A button. And then this would be the land. So it makes it a lot more confusing than it needs to be. I want to control it. Okay. It's been so long since I've done this. Okay, now we're good. Oh yeah. Of course, RetroArch would allow us to go and tweak it as we wish. There's core options, what cores would you like, that type of stuff. Frame duplication, make it 60 frames, sure. Maybe save states, everything there. Yeah. This one, since I've tried playing this game, and I played it on original hardware last time. I am horrible. I am horrible and I am about to die. Really horrible. Should have probably played this first. I was just so proud that I had it. No, no, there I go. Bond. James Bond. Getting the replay of his death. So yeah, let's forget about that. You saw nothing. Context. No, we don't want to play that. You know, for back in the day though, the Game Boy Advance for portable game console was pretty darn good. You know, Talked about that in the last live stream. Let's try on the Genesis. But if you are here for the tour around ESD, that's the reason Android gets a lower score for ease of use, because it's not easy in a lot of ways. You know, you have to know how to get Emulation Station Desktop Edition, or you're going to have a bunch of standalone emulators, which is absolutely fine. But me personally, I don't want to have to go to NES to load an NES game. I don't want to go to Yaba Sanjuro to play a Sega Saturn game. I don't want to go to Dolphin for Wii game. I want it all to be incorporated into one. PPSP um, for PSP games. So that's one of the reasons personally, I like to have my front end be something like Emulation Station Desktop Edition that incorporates it all. And then I can choose to have those standalone emulators, but it'll load them from ESD. Oh, he's got me. And then pull off. I mean, for Sega Genesis, you know, on a much higher resolution screen, all things considered. I have to turn off Discord future live streams. There we go. I won. Am I the best fight? No. Could any one of the two people watching probably beat me? Probably. There's the Sega version. All right, so let's do God of War. Change the volume. I've been playing earlier. I was getting around 60 frames per second because I changed some stuff around. I'm at 2 times resolution and chose my backend to be, yeah, Vulkan. At 2 times resolution. Let me show you the basic stuff that I did there. That's the basic stuff. Back. And then, of course, I mapped it so it would match a PlayStation controller, since that's what I'm used to. Yes. I'm at 59. Not the worst, but 52. Still looks pretty good. Oh, turning into off. 61. That's one tough monster. See, he's just running away. That didn't even kill him. Getting hit with a pillar. And yes, I did use Sakura's sticks and their other stick caps that they gave me for this as well. Give it more of a PlayStation vibe. Feels nice having the silicone grip to it. So if you recall from my video where I talked about them a bit more, their actual stick is just kind of that plastic feeling from a 3D printer. So kind of a hard plastic, which is good in a lot of ways. Good for this, it doesn't come off easy, so it's very stuck on, but not very sticky as far as keeping your finger on place. So their grips that they include with their ultimate package are awesome. Let's go backwards. Yeah. I don't know who walks a battering ram upside down or backwards, but apparently Kratos does. The gates are open. Yeah. No, stay down. There we go. So you can see with Vulcan though, pretty good frame rate. I mean, it's not perfect. Sometimes it dips down to about 45. Sometimes it's about 61, 62, but still very playable. So if you're wanting PSP, there you go. Of course, paperback is fine. The rules are on here. Oh, how dare you come when I'm trying to get this done? I imagine there's supposed to be something like that. It's been so long since I've played this game. Anyways, that's God of War. I don't think I have it. Jesse, I'm not sure I have. I'm guessing you were saying Street Fighter on Wii. I don't think I have it. I only have a couple games. Well, I do, but not the particular Street Fighter game. But let's see here. Good to see you, though, Jesse. So let's see here. For Wii, I do have a Japanese name, Tatsunoko versus Capcom, and Naruto. Okay, I already played this. I can't remember if I did on this stream or when I thought it was live, but let's try this for Jesse. Jesse is a rock star too. Always has been. Let's play a little Wii to show that we can actually play Wii on this. Not every Wii game, mind you, just the lighter weight stuff. But oh, what is it going to be? Oh my god! Ah, it's a little bit harder because instinctively I want to pull it closer. Oh, backbreaker. No, you win! Yay! I won! No, there's a little bit of we can try the other game. I'm fairly certain that's not a Nintendo IP. I had never played the Wii until I lived in Chile, and one of my friends in Chile was kind enough to have a Wii and invited me over to play Wii sometimes. I had a PlayStation 3, he had a Wii. But why is it not letting me choose? I'm not sure. Okay, new game, okay. There we go. I am so smart. I am so smart. SMRT. Which one is the Z button? Or Z button? Okay, okay. Um, oh, there we go. Imagine I have to grab these boxes and move them, but I don't know what the button is to. Oh, there we go. There we go. I mean, I have to give it, you know, it's pretty good. I'm sure I'm going to say it wrong. Other than anime, I don't know the actual art style, but looks really good. Mm, But again, 40 to 70 FPS, pretty good for this kind of shell or cell shaded kind of anime. What was my button again? What's my button? Focus on the enemy. Okay, okay. Come on. Let me go back to the game. There we go. A little bit of glitchiness there, but again, all things considered, not bad. In the 30s now, but sorry again, I don't want to get hit with copyright strikes. So I got word today, first time I'm mentioning that on this stream, the AYN Thor has shipped today. So hopefully, usually it takes about a week from China to get to me in Bangkok. So hopefully I'll have that soon. And that'll be a fun little dual screen device to get. Like I said, this has a 4.6 inch and a 16 by 9 or a 4 by 3 aspect ratio screen, just to give you a frame of reference. Whereas this is a 5.5 inch screen. Okay, this is 5.5 but 16 by 9, so same aspect ratio as your TV. The Thor has a 6-inch screen, so the Thor will have a little bit bigger screen, and that'll be the top screen, and then the bottom screen is going to be a square, that's or almost square, 3.92-inch screen, and then it'll have the controls on the side enclosed like a Nintendo DS. So that's why I was comparing it so strongly to this, because I knew the Thor was coming soon. You can see I still have the other Sakura sticks on there as well. So different style, you can tell. That's the good thing, we get the option. Whenever you get the ultimate pack from Sakura, you get that option. See if I can get it off now. And when I was putting on stuff, I wanted to show this, but I couldn't. They gave like a super thin guitar pick with the Sakura cherry. There's the big Sakura cherry with all the remaining stuff that I have. So I have one more of their sticks. I have one more set of their caps. I don't, like, they included these. I have no idea what these are for. Like 3 little bumps on each one, I'm not sure. And then these are the sticks that came with these devices. And actually, I guess I have 2 more. So I have these 2 and this one, so if I want to do that, or this one came with it also, so if you want a raised, this is actually just one, but it's raised. I'll use that. So again, Sakura provided it to me at no cost, just asked me to bring it up, but I enjoy their sticks with it. Like I say, the caveat is because it's a harder plastic, they are harder to put on the sticks themselves, but once you put them on, they don't come off. Whereas some of the other sticks, like I had the AYN Odin 2 sticks from AYN directly, and those would come off my Odin 2 portal. These really stick on, so I don't have these coming off whenever I'm playing a football game or any other type of game I'm using the sticks a lot. So I appreciate Sakura's quality. Like I say, it might throw people off at first because they fit so snugly, but once you get them on, they're pretty good. So before we go today, unless we get another request, here I'll just go over a quick tour again. So we do have our bumpers, we have our triggers, and then so these are the clickiest buttons on the device. Of course, these are not. These are analog stick triggers. I love having the stacked shoulder buttons rather than the inline ones. So this is the first device that Anbernic has released with the stacked shoulder buttons. They've always done the inline ones on the previous two, the RG Slide and the RG477M. So we get those. So it gives you a nice PlayStation or Xbox type of feel, or even Wii gamepad controller feel. And then we get our power button. We get our volume up and down rocker. Of course, nothing on the sides. Let's go over this way here. So we have two downward firing speakers. Again, when you're playing it, your hands aren't going to hit it. It's not coming right at you, but you're not blocking them, so you don't have to worry about that. An offset USB-C. Now this can do DisplayPort out, so in theory, we could connect the secondary display to that and make it a odd little device if we really wanted to. But so it does have display out, so you can consoleize it to your TV if you wish. You do have your 3.5mm headphone jack. You're still using 3.5mm headphones. Of course, there is Bluetooth built into it, so you can use your earbuds if you want. And this is the micro SD card slot. Before I'll show you that in just a moment, but I want to break this through here. So we have like a Super Nintendo 4-way D-pad. Quiet, comfortable, accurate. I really love Anbernic's 4-way D-pads. My personal favorite. They're glossy base buttons, still quiet, so I love that they're quiet. And then their analog sticks are a bit small, but again, since they're using the standard one that Sakura and other people on Etsy use, the same ones that you can buy extra sticks from AYN or from Retroid. I love that they're the standard, so you can change them out if you want, just like I did. And of course, like say you have RGB lighting. Whoops. Turn that back on. And you have RGB lighting. Mine's just all different colors, but you can change it up. And then you have your start and select button. And since it is Android device, this is your back and your home button. So back is just a tap and hold it for going back home. And then they have their Anbernic button. I don't know why the Anbernic button is R. I accidentally said earlier Retroid because I saw R instinctively, but that's to bring up their own launcher because they do have their own front end. It's just not as good as ESDE or as good as Beacon. So you can use it. I think it takes more work, but again, if you want to, you can. So let's say full Android, you have Chrome and you want YouTube, Netflix, you can watch it all here. You can go to the Play Store, download Android games. So if you have your own favorite Android game, you can use that and play it, no problem. Aptoid is something that is very kind of controversial for a lot of people. Yeah. Skip it. So the reason it's kind of controversial is you can find apps and games, including retro games, here. So I mean, they have their own kind of app store. So again, YouTube Music. I don't know why you wouldn't go through the Play Store, but you know, if you don't want to go through the Play Store, you can get that. And games, again, you're going to have Android games and classic games here too. So it doesn't make a lot of people happy. But hey, if you like that Magic Tile game, who remembers the Magic Tile games that where you playing the piano? I used to love that game back whenever it first came out. So cool. Play some Uno on here, so it doesn't have to be all retro games. It's already included. Now I did download CX File Explorer because I like it better than Android's File Explorer. So that's why I use that. And honestly, I don't, Chrome isn't my thing. I like Edge better because it has ChatGPT built into it. I just haven't downloaded it. But one of the nice things I like about this versus other, I believe the 477M even did not have an app drawer whatsoever, whereas this has the full app drawer. So you can swipe up from the bottom and do your app drawer. Swipe down from the top, and you can get your notifications. You can do your quick actions like making it dimmer, make it really bright. You can change the fan profile. I don't think you really need to from there, but you can do fan, and maybe you could get better performance if you switch it to the high power mode. I don't know. You can see the Wii was actually pretty decent. So there you go, Retroid launcher. So if you want to launch that, let's just see here. Anbernic. There we go. So you can see this is what it looks like. Of course, I have games listed as under the other system, so I'm not showing there. But for example, Pico 8 is there, but it's not showing any games. So I'm guessing that maybe. Yes, scan my TF card, please. My micro SD card. So you can see it's pretty basic here. Let's try. And it doesn't have all of the consoles. I don't know why it's not showing all of the games. Settings, game style. Let's try. Let's see what they look like. Okay, interesting. Okay, make it look a little bit different. Honestly, I haven't played around with it because I saw that one initially and I was like, meh, to search. Okay, N64. All right, settings, scan. Reinstall the search. Interesting. Be care. I'm guessing it means be careful, but be care. RetroArch add overlays. Okay, maybe updating config file. Maybe it's going to allow overlay. Actually, I haven't played with it because I just saw that initial. Shame on me. I know. Record. Interesting. Let's see what else we got. We got theme 2. Let's try theme 2. What does theme 2 look like? Okay. I mean, again, not the flashiest. It's funny, it says PS2, but where's the PS1? PSP. So like no order. No, there's PS1. Interesting. I'm learning on the fly here with you guys. Theme 3. Let's try theme 3. Wow, okay. Okay, and you can change it from chronological to alphabetical. Interesting, interesting. Still not seeing my games though. I don't understand why. Huh. Maybe somebody can tell me why it's not seeing My games. Okay, so it's telling me what emulator, ROM setting. Let's do a new one. Micro, ROM, select. Okay, okay. I think think, think I can. I don't know. Like I say, I just never gave it much of a chance. But I'm giving it a chance with you. Let's go. Yes, okay, and then oh, no. One, PPSP, yeah. Okay, interesting, interesting. Wrong setting. All right. So I'm going with you because I've never even given it a chance, honestly. Start searching. Okay, let's just try that. Oh, okay, look at that. All the done. And it's quite basic, but it does give you times. I apologize, Anbernic. I've just never used you. It again takes a little bit more because you have to go console by console, it looks like. I can't figure out how to do it otherwise, but all the time. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I mean, okay, that was actually cool. I apologize. All right, okay. I mean, I guess you could use it as your own. Yeah, that just blows my mind. And I do have Street Fighter on PSP even. That must be on the internal storage that is hidden away from you. So I apologize, guys. I've learned something new here today with you. Of course, like I say, it's going to take some setup, but not too bad. Just go back here. What am I? NDS. Okay, NDS. So we want. I can't remember if it's DS or NDS, but we'll find out. It looks like it's got NDS. Yeah, there you go. NDS, please. Select. Touch your seems to be nice. Oh, there we go. Oh, there. Like I say, it's not as good as the other one by any means, but I'm still pleasantly surprised. So I mean, this thing has been going on quite a while now. As far as I know, 2.5 hours, but YouTube says an hour or so. Again, I deeply apologize to everybody that's been watching this. It was not my intention. I hit start streaming and start recording and go live on my main system, but it didn't do it. I had to go into Google and start my stream that way. So it doesn't look like I've had any requests here in the last little while. But again, my apologies to Anbernic. I appreciate their launcher much more now. Again, it's at least more user friendly in some ways than because it's incorporated. So that's good. But again, since my games are on a micro SD card, makes it a bit trickier still. But a win is a win. If you don't need a front end, you could make it work. Learning experience for me and a learning curve for anyone buying it. But like I say, I'm going to spend tomorrow making the review, obviously, since today is Wednesday and the review is on Friday. That'll affect my score a little bit. Um, kind of a double-edged sword. Makes it easier because you have a front end. You don't have to go out and get a separate front end. That's actual, like a nice looking UI, and they did have box art pretty well, but being able to find it on the micro SD card's not that easy. So again, if you're watching this later, drop a comment down below. What do you think of this device? And next week, I'll be reviewing a less powerful device, but that's okay. I want to create a list of games people want to see. So create that list for me by letting me know down in the comment section below. Give me some recommendations, but please be explicit, like GoldenEye -N64 or Street Fighter 2 SNES, something like that. So I know what platform it's on, because again, there's been how many Street Fighter 2s, and I don't want to do one that you're not familiar with. I promise I'll get better at these streams. Like say, 3 weeks ago was my first ever stream, and there was less hiccups in both cases as far as getting the equipment working, but then the software it got me this time, and I apologize about that. I will make sure it says start streamer. I'll have reach out to Ethan to see if he's available to be ready for me. And thanks for jumping on. Apportionated. I'm guessing that's apportionated. Appreciate you being on. And feel free to, I'll have, like, say, the full live stream after this on YouTube. So if you want to go back and watch what I've done, feel free to do that. And like say, drop your comments down, especially on these. Say future ones I'd like to see, X on GameCube, X on Wii, if applicable, X on PS1 or X on PS2. Maybe it's your favorite game and it's not taxing. Maybe it's just like say Street Fighter 2 on the SNES. It's not going to be taxing, but maybe it's one of your favorite all time. I'll be happy to do that. And like say, once I get a good list of 10 or 15 games, then I can start these live streams just going through those and talk about the handheld. So I'm not going to bug you guys anymore. I just want to say that I appreciate each and every one of you, and I thank you for being here. And just remember, we're on our march to 500 subscribers, where I will give another member giveaway, and then it will be every 500 subscribers thereafter. So 1,000, not one, I guess not every 500. So it'll be 500 and then 1,000, and then it'll be every 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 in perpetuity. So if somehow or another I blow up and I get 10,000 subscribers in 1 month, probably not going to happen. But if I do, that would be 10, and I'm not at 500 yet, so that would be 1 and 1. So so if I got 10,000, that'd be 12 giveaways in 1 month. To be eligible, again, you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I need you to subscribe to my blog, phoenix-handhelds.com. I'll never send you any email unless you win. Okay? No, I'm not going to bother you with newsletters, and no, I'm not going to spam you in any other time. I'll just send you a message if you win. But when you enter, I might respond to you if you do this. But again, I'd appreciate it. Please say, hey, just subscribed on your YouTube channel on a message. You have a chat with Phoenix at the bottom right, I believe it is, on the blog. Just click on that. Say, hey, I just subscribed on your channel. I'm a new member here as well. My YouTube name is this. Phoenix is awesome. And that way, like I say, I can verify that you subscribed on both platforms. So whenever I create my wheel of gift, basically in this case, you'll be able to win. And just to clarify, you can win this, which this is a USB-A, and it flips over to the USB-C flash drive, 128 gigabytes. Phoenix branded on both sides on the device too. I also had some coffee mugs made, so I think it looks really great. I think they did a great job. So I have 3 or 4 of these. So if you want a coffee mug, I can ship it directly from my place here in Bangkok to you, wherever you are in the world. I'll tell the shipper to pay everything, tariff everything for me. So you don't have to pay a penny. You just have to be a member on both places. Okay. I also will order on AliExpress. I will also order on AliExpress a t-shirt that would have just this kind of controller outline in the chest region, and then across the back would have this Phoenix Handhelds full logo that you've seen before with the guys there. Yes, this is a real desk mat. This is what I use for work every day because, you know, I'm so small. This is not my full-time job. This is just a for fun job. If I can get large enough, you know, where I can get review units and I can get to monetization with 1,000 subscribers or more. As those start giving me some revenue, then I can look at stepping down from my full-time job or going part-time on my full-time job and focus on my channel. And then, like say, I can be able to get where I have more partnerships. Thank you to Trim UI for agreeing to send me a review unit. Most other companies are telling me you're too small to get a review unit. Come back to us when you're bigger. So again, if you're watching this, I'd love it if you'd subscribe because that'll just help me grow that much quicker. Because if they see you subscribing, that'll help you help my videos be pushed to more people. If you leave a comment down below, that will help them push the algorithm to push my video to more people. Give it a thumbs up. That'll also push it to more people, so I'm more likely to get more subscribers. So all of those interactions really help. But anyways, back to the giveaway. And you can also choose the desk mat, which the first winner said he wanted a desk mat. So I asked him how big is his desk? How big of a desk mat can he get? And I sent him from AliExpress at no cost to him for shipping or import tariffs or anything. He was out of the UK, but he got a desk mat, Phoenix desk mat. And he shared with me a picture, and I felt really great having my desk mat in someone else's possession. And if you're watching this, I hope that it's working for you as well as for me. I've had mine now for almost 6 months. Still right as rain, as you can tell. There's no issues with it. They did a really great job with it. I love that it's embedded into the desk mat. It's not like some screen print. I tried going to another maker, honestly. My first video, I used this. And this is just kind of, you can tell this is a lot smoother, kind of shiny. This is embedded into the material. This is just kind of a sticker put on top of a desk mat. So not my favorite. Good in a pinch. Got my channel started while I waited for this to arrive. I had this made, and like I say, it turned out fine. But it's just a sticker, so you can peel it off. This is woven in. It's not peeling off. So if you're interested in potentially receiving, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you're a subscriber to both Phoenix Handhelds YouTube channel and my blog, phoenix-handhelds.com, send me that message with your YouTube name so I can, you know, verify that you're subscribed to both. When I'll do a random wheel spin with all of my subscribers, and again, I just list you, for example, Ethan, I just put, you know, his Ethan was, you know, Ethan, you know, so I don't discriminate and show everybody your name. Or if there's more than one Ethan, I'd put like Ethan L, for example. So it'll still be private, but everybody will be able to see who wins. And then, like say, I'll send you a message from Phoenix blog saying, hey, you won. What would you like to win? So don't hesitate there. and I'm gonna stop jibber jabbering. You know, it's again 10:36 in p.m. in Thailand. I have to wake up early in the morning to order my um, what was it, the Air X tomorrow morning, and then I believe the next day. Yeah, because tomorrow is the 16th for us. It comes out on the 16th for us, 8th and the 9th, since we're much later than North America. And then the following day on the 17th, the Ayenio Pocket Air Mini is launching. So 2 days, 2 devices ordered. Again, 100% by me. So help me grow so I can hopefully get those guys to send me review units to make it where it's much easier for my channel. Because right now I can promise you that eats into my Thai salaries pocketbook pretty quickly, all of these devices. But I do it for you guys because I want you guys to have it and be able to make informed decisions about what works and what doesn't work. And that's why I started doing these live streams. That's why I started the channel in general. But before I talk all night and everybody disappears, I do again simply want to thank you for joining in. If you haven't already, I'd appreciate it a thumbs up and a comment. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And until next time, this has been Hine.